What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front brakes on this 2001 BMW 325xi. If you need these parts or other parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1AAuto.com. Now we're going to be doing the driver's side brakes on this vehicle. This has a pad sensor on this side. It doesn't have one on the passenger side. So when you're doing the passenger side, there may not be a sensor. All right, I want to loosen up these lug bolts. I'm going to use a 17mm socket and a breaker bar. Loosen them up. Now I'm going to raise and support the vehicle. We're using a 2-post lift. If you're doing this at your house, you can use a jack and jack stands. Now I'll take these lug bolts out. Just use the socket to help you get them out. I'm going to just hold the wheel with my other hand so it doesn't fall. Take the last one out. Then I can grab the wheel and slide it off. All right, so I'm gonna use some needle nose and I'm gonna just grab right here, try to squeeze this. This is the brake pad sensor. And then try to pull it out, just like that. There's a little spring in there. And then we can take this off here. That's the retainer that holds it on. You want to take this spring off. There's a couple different ways to do this. I'm just going to take some large pliers, squeeze this, and then take a screwdriver. Just watch your eyes, because normally these springs go flying. Try that, pull it off. On the back of the caliper, there's two little caps that cover up the bolts to hold the caliper on. I'm going to use a small screwdriver, take these caps off, just like that. Then I'm going to use a 7mm hex head socket and a ratchet. Take these two bolts out. Once I break those free, I'm going to use an air ratchet. If you don't have an air ratchet, you can just use a regular ratchet. Take that bolt out. It's like a slide bolt. The caliper actually slides on this. Pull that one out as well. Just going to use a straight blade screwdriver. Just pry this out a little bit, just to loosen up the caliper. That's gonna push the piston in a little. We can just slide it out. And then I can use one of these caliper hooks. Just slide it in here. We sell these at 1AAuto.com. And then hook it on the spring, the coil spring. I'm gonna take these two bolts out. For the caliper bracket, I'm going to use a 16mm socket and a breaker bar just to break them free. Loosen that one up and then loosen this one up. All right, now I'm going to use an air ratchet. If you don't have an air ratchet, you can just use a regular ratchet with a 16mm socket. Slide the bracket back. Take those bolts out. We want to take this screw out. This holds the rotor on. We can use a 6mm socket and a ratchet. We can give that a try. A lot of times these are pretty tight on there, so you're going to have to use an impact driver. We actually sell this impact driver. What it normally does, you normally put different bits in this piece, but this actually comes off, and then you have an adapter for a 3/8 socket, so we can slide that on. Slide that in there. We can hit this with a hammer. Now the rotor doesn't have any studs, so keep your hand on the rotor, or you can put a lug stud in there. Oh, pull that out. I'm just gonna put one of these in because the rotor's stuck on there. Oh, it's kind of loose. But then I'll take a hammer and just give it a tap. It pops right off. Pull it off. You can take these pads off the caliper. Oh, those are pretty rusted on there. Take this pad off. Give this pad a tap. Here's the old brake parts. Here's the new brake parts from 1AAuto.com. If you look at the rotor is the same height, has the same machine surfaces. The pads are the same style. Have the same ears, same pad material, same place for the pad sensor. Get yours at 1AAuto.com and you'll be ready to do it yourself. Right, now we want to clean this hub up a little bit before we put the rotor on. We can take this wire brush. We actually sell a kit of these comes with 3 different brushes. We'll just sand this down. All right, so that the rotor doesn't stick to this hub. Next time we take it off, I'm just going to put a little anti-seize just around the center here. Just spread it out. I don't like to use a lot of this because it gets everywhere, so just a nice thin coat. Now there's a coating, protective coating on the rotor to prevent it from rusting. So I just want to spray that off with a little brake parts cleaner and wipe it off on the backside. And we can position this on the hub. You can take that screw that holds the rotor on, get that started. Just take a ratchet and just snug this up. You don't have to have it too tight, just snug. Clean this side of the rotor, brake parts cleaner, and a rag. We're gonna clean the bracket. We'll use this wire brush. Just clean this area right here. Any of the areas where the pad is gonna make contact with it. Just get that rust off. Now we can reinstall this caliper bracket. Slide that in position. Put the 2 bolts in there. Now I'm going to use my 16mm socket and this torque wrench. We actually sell this torque wrench at 1AAuto.com. And I'm going to torque these bolts to 81 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to take the caliper hook off. Slide that out of the way. I have this brake caliper piston compressor that we sell at 1AAuto.com. Slide it in there, and then it's gonna ratchet. This is gonna compress the piston in the caliper, send the brake fluid through the hose, through the brake lines, back into the master cylinder and into the reservoir. Just do it slowly. You can slide the tool out. Just gonna take a little brake caliper grease, put it on the ears of the pads. This flat one is gonna go right here on the outside. Make sure it slides in there nice, which is good. And then this one with this clip is gonna go on the piston side of the brake caliper. Slide that in. We can take the caliper and just slide it in position, just like that. Right, now I want to clean these brake caliper slide pins. We'll just take some brake parts cleaner and a rag. Just clean them up. If they're rusty, you're going to want to get a wire brush and get the rust off. Those look pretty good. Just take a little caliper grease, put them on these bolts right here, just like that. We'll slide this into the caliper. Then I'll take the 7mm hex head socket and get these bolts started. Take a ratchet, tighten these down. Now I'm going to use a 7mm hex head socket and a torque wrench. We're going to torque these to 20 foot-pounds. Take the caps, put the caps back in. I'm going to reinstall the spring. This holds the caliper to the bracket, prevents it from rattling around. It's a good idea to replace these when you're doing this job, but it's not necessary. Make sure that's in there properly. That's good. Now before I put the wire through this retainer right here, I'm just going to slide it in position on that pad. Just take the needle nose pliers to help assist. And just slide that in position, just like that. And then put this retainer right there, lock that down. Now I'm going to install the wheel. line it up with the lug holes. And I'll hold the wheel on, grab a socket with my lug bolt, get that started. All right, now I can lower the vehicle and torque the lug nuts. Now I'm going to use a 17mm socket and this torque wrench that we sell at 1AAuto.com. I'm going to torque these lug bolts to 95 foot-pounds in a star pattern so that it torques the wheel down evenly. Let's go around again. After we do the brake job, we want to make sure we pump the brake pedal because right now there's an air gap between the caliper piston and the brake pads. So we pump that and that gets rid of that air gap. We want to check the fluid level and make sure that the fluid level is between the min and the max, preferably closer to the max. And ours is a little bit high, so we'll have to extract some of the fluid. So if it was low, you would have to add some. You're going to check the cap and make sure you use the appropriate fluid. This is .4 only.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts shipped to your door, the place for DIY auto repair. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button.